Hello, Arizona. This is a special edition of Arizona Today. We're going to call it the Copper State Edition because we're going to do several of these in the next year with Arizona candidates running for Arizona offices. And so while we are talking about Arizona issues, what I'm going to introduce you to are individuals who have already declared to run for a specific office, and I want you to become acquainted with them. Our guest today is State Senator Dave Livingston, who is already announced to run for the treasurer of the state of Arizona. So, Senator, welcome to Arizona Today.
Thank you, Dr. Lyle. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've known this senator for about 12 years, I think. He looks younger. I'm getting older, but he looks good. He looks about the same as when I met him 12, 13 years ago, David. And I'm glad that he has decided to come up here to Prescott and to sit and tell us why he's running and what we can expect. Now, before we do that, Senator, and I did not know this, and I've known you a long time, but I did not know this. This is almost like a second home for you in Yavapai County, Prescott area.
It definitely is. I've always loved Prescott, but now my mom lives here, my son lives here, my grandson lives up here. So I'm up here all the time. I've always loved Prescott. I even have a rental house in Prescott too. So it is truly a second home for us.
That is outstanding. I did not know that. So that's very exciting. So I'm really glad that we can introduce you to the Yavapai County, but also in more northern Arizona. He's known fairly well downstate. He's known fairly well through most of the state, having been a state legislator and then a state senator. But now he's branching out and going to Page. You're going to have to go to Page.
Everywhere in Arizona.
Fredonia. Okay, so this is really exciting that we get to introduce him to not just northern Arizona, but Arizona as a whole. Now, Senator, you've decided to run for the treasurer's position in the state of Arizona.
Correct.
I'm going to ask what many other people would ask you right out of the chute. Why, and why do you think you have the qualifications to run for state treasurer?
Yeah. The reason I'm running for state treasurer is I'm going back to my roots. I've been a financial advisor my whole life, and managing money and maximizing profit and minimizing risk is just what I do in everything in my life. And I've been at the legislature for 10 years. I like to think I made a difference, and now I'm ready for the next challenge in my life.
So taking this step to run for the state treasurer's position in Arizona is really a big step because, and correct me if I'm wrong, although it's my show and you don't want to do that, but they all do, David. Everybody's in there. But instead of being a member of the legislature, you become the state treasurer. Yes. And that means you're responsible for the dollars from the people in Fredonia and Page and Nogales and border to border.
Yep. The state treasurer is responsible for more than $10 billion. So it's a big time job. It's an important job. But like I said, managing money is what I've always done. I don't have to run a state treasurer. I still could run for Senate. I'm not termed out or anything. I want to run for state treasurer. And matter of fact, I've been looking at this job my whole career. When I was a rookie in the House, Governor Ducey was a treasurer, and he came over and we had a conversation about me taking that job one day, way back then. But I wanted to make sure I understood how government worked, what the budget process was, and what the state needed. And now, after 10 years, I think I have a pretty good knowledge of that.
Well, let me push you. What do you see as one of the biggest challenges? You become state treasurer tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, let's say, okay? What would be one of the biggest challenges you would be facing as the treasurer?
Yeah. As state treasurer, one of the big things you need to do is manage the people that you work for and listen to them and then make decisions. I've been in those rooms. I speak that language, the technical investment language. Mm-hmm. I know how to ask them questions about the investments to be able to make the final decision. Because the treasurer doesn't do everything from A to Z. The treasurer is the CEO of the state financially. And the treasurer helps make, okay, we're going to do this or this, and this is why. And I've been in those boardrooms. I know how to speak that language. I know how to ask the questions to lead us to maximize the state money with the minimum amount of risk, because that's really the goal.
Now, I remember my 7th grade civics. It's the House of Representatives that holds the purse for we the people.
Yes.
So the House of Representatives has the purse. and here comes the state treasurer saying, I need $10, right? Or 10 million.
Yeah.
The state treasurer has to come to the House and what? Explain?
So a lot of what the treasurer does, it's been allocated to the treasurer, and now the treasurer does it. When you need to do new things, then you go to the House or the Senate and you say, okay, guys, this is a problem I have found. This is the solution I think we need. Will you please consider running a bill to do this? Obviously, I have a lot of friends in the House and a lot of friends in the Senate to have that conversation with.
Now, the governor, whoever it may be, is the chief executive officer.
Yep.
And so it's the responsibility of the governor to set the budget, to set the criteria for the state for the next year.
The governor introduces the budget.
Okay.
And then the House and the Senate finalizes it, and then the governor gets to sign it.
Okay.
So it's a team process, and everybody has their role. Regarding the annual budget for the state, the treasurer doesn't have much of a role in that.
I like this because you've opened the door here. Let me ask the question, what would be the role that you would assume tomorrow morning at 9 if you were the treasurer? With what you just said, what then would you be your role?
Let me give you a technical answer without going too deep in the weeds.
Please.
So let's say we want to increase, the investment guys are recommending that we increase investments in Europe. And do we move that increase from 2% to 4%? Do we double it or not? Well, then we have a debate in the boardroom. And we have all the investment guys around, and they both say we should do it this way or we should do it that way. Well, one person makes the final decision, the treasurer. And because I've been in those conversations, managing money before, I know how to listen. I know how to ask the questions that enable me to make the best decisions on that issue, which is the best decision for the state.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I really didn't. As you all know, I've been able to participate with senators and legislators like Senator Livingston for 14 years now, behind the scenes for the most part. But I did not know that, David, and that's fascinating.
And you love to do things behind the scenes.
If I can.
If you can. I do too. I'm not in the press a lot. I'm not in the news a lot. What I do instead is I work with all the members of the House and in the Senate, and I help get things done. When people need to get things done, they come to me because I get things done.
Well, if I may, let me push you. Not to trick you or anything. I'm fascinated by this. I did not know this. So, on behalf of all of us who we may not know, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock you take over as the Senate. I'm just saying that as an example.
Yep.
Okay, I don't want somebody to write me because they will. They'll write me and go, he takes over tomorrow morning. People are fun. You take over tomorrow morning and we've got a budget that we have to keep the lights on in the state. And do you have a role in that? The House is the purse keeper.
Right.
The governor sets the direction.
Yeah.
But the treasurer is an advisor in all of this?
The treasurer could be an advisor if they have the relationship with the House and Senate and the governor. If the treasurer has a poor relationship, and then frankly the House and the Senate and the governor doesn't pay attention. So building that relationship behind the scenes is really important. I call it building a winning team. And I'm pretty good about doing that. I like winning and I like working together and make us all look good.
So we're talking about networking in the House and the Senate, the executive, and actually throughout Arizona government, the Department of Economic Security, all of these different departments and agencies. The treasurer should have some form of a network to find out what's going on, and as well as the House, the budget committees and appropriations and all.
But it's deeper than that. So the treasurer also has a relationship with the board of supervisors of every county and with different cities, because we also manage, the treasurer's job also manages cash flow for the cities and the counties. And we actually manage that money. So we hold their savings account basically, and we manage that. Now we manage it very conservatively and mostly in CDs and bonds. But if we can make 0.5% more, that's 0.5% savings so that the city or the county could use for something else.
So we have 15 counties in Arizona.
Yes.
Each county has a relationship with the treasurer, or should.
They should.
And then vice versa. The treasurer should have a good relationship with each of the 15 counties.
Yes.
And they work together to find out if there's a need.
It's not just a need, it's bringing best practices to everywhere in the state. I mean, sometimes the state thinks we're all about Maricopa County, which I do live in, but it's 15 counties. But if I can find something that's going really well up here in Prescott, and I can share that with somebody down in Yuma or in Sierra Vista and give best practices to them, that's part of the job too.
I'll be darned. I did not know this. This is fascinating.
I love this stuff. I know it's kind of technical.
It is.
But I'm a money guy. So to me, it's just the language I speak.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
I did not know that the state treasurer could have that much influence if they develop those relationships. Am I correct in that?
Develop and really want to. I want to do that. I want to be the treasurer that any elected official in the state calls for investment advice, cash flow advice, debt management advice, and then I can put my experts on it, and we can come back and tell them what our recommendation is. Or maybe the recommendation is, you have these options. There's no perfect option, but let me explain your 3 options.
That's fascinating. It really is. I did not know this. So you correct me now, okay? Because this is interesting. So you, if it's developed and the respect is there, you become an advisor to 15 counties.
Yes.
To the state,
Yes.
in different, the executive, and I'll be darned. And so, again, if you develop that relationship, that team, that networking, they should listen to you because you're studying economics 24/7, basically.
Right, but I've studied all my life.
Right,
So-
but as the treasurer,
Right.
you go to the office in the morning, and while a governor, attorney general, and legislators
Yeah.
are dealing with a plethora of things, you study financial stuff.
Right, I'm looking at Fox Business and I'm looking at Bloomberg. That's what goes on first in my household. Sports are third, but that's what the business stuff goes on first.
My household, it's sports first, and okay. So I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And the working relationship is really important. You have to understand the budget. We just passed the budget June 30th, and that's for the next 12 months.
July 1st starts the fiscal year.
That's right. So what's in that budget that the governor ended up signing, that the House and Senate passed, which I was a part of, is now being implemented at all these different state agencies, including cities and counties.
Now, is it possible and I don't mean this as a trick, this is fascinating to me, and for the most part, dollars and cents are not that fascinating to me, but this is fascinating. I did not know this. So if a county is struggling financially, that would be something, if they had a good reciprocal relationship with the treasurer, you would have known about before June 30th, let's say.
Yes.
Okay, and you could have advised them.
Yes.
And then also the legislature.
The treasury is actually, in a way, the background, the last opportunity if somebody's in trouble financially, the city or county, the treasurer is the last one that can bail them out.
I'll be darned.
Now, hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Right.
Hopefully you have that relationship and you avoid emergencies. But you have to plan for emergencies. You have to be prepared for them.
Well, how about if we pick up on that, the next segment? Let me propose an emergency.
Okay.
And let's not trick you, but let's get your counsel on how you see the state treasurer being a formidable asset to the state of Arizona.
Right. So it's that advisory role.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the 2 decades that I managed money, what I really did is advise clients and businesses on what to do, how to structure their financial life for the rest of their life. That's really, as a great financial advisor, you want to do. So advising, listening, asking questions, holding them accountable.
Okay.
Sometimes businesses and individuals say, we have these big goals. They're like, great, to solve this goal, you need to save this amount per month. They're like, okay, I can do that. And then 6 months later, they're not doing that. So you bring them back in, you hold them accountable. Say, is this goal important to you? If it's your son's education or whatever it is, or not, you're not doing what you told me is important. And you have that tough conversation. You've known me a while. I'm not afraid of tough conversation.
No, we've had a few.
I call it, when I'm managing money and working with brutal honesty.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. If you ask a question, you may get the answer, but you may not want the answer.
Been there also with a lot of elected officials, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
My guest is Senator Dave Livingston, who is announced for treasurer of the state of Arizona. And we're going to come back and we're going to pick up on a couple of segments dealing with your role, again, more specifically as the treasurer, and why you feel so certain that you're prepared to assume this position.
Outstanding.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this segment of Arizona Today. We're going to call this the Copper State Edition because instead of dealing with the audit and national security issues and all the other things we've been dealing with, we're dealing with something also very important. That is the state of Arizona, who, by the way, is a copper state. And if you take a look at our flag right behind me, the star is copper, because that's one of our gifts in Arizona, is mining of copper, as you know, Senator. And it's one of the benefits of being in Arizona. We get copper pennies for free. You didn't know that. I sued that out. That will probably launch an investigation. So thank you for joining us. Senator Livingston is going to be back, and we're going to talk some more about how he sees his role as the state treasurer. I'm Lyle Rapacki, reporting for Prescott E! News in Prescott, Arizona, and that's how I see Arizona today.